It is Wednesday, time for some midweek mysticism. People will tell you God is infinite, and that is accurate. The only thing is that when we say the word infinite, we don't necessarily always appreciate exactly what that means. Most people think of the word infinite in time. Infinite, something which continues forever. Or perhaps you have a picture in your mind of a line that continues infinitely, meaning to say beyond what the eye can see. But in mystical terms, in Torah language, we call Hashem Ein Sof. Now, the direct translation of Ein Sof means without end. And of course, when you think without end, you assume that that just simply means without end. In other words, he doesn't end. He continues throughout every single thing that exists. There is no place where you can say, this is it, this is the final stop, this is as far as God stretches, and anything beyond this is something else. That would be antithetical to the fundamental beliefs of Judaism. So we understand that. The expression that we use is Meloi kol haaretz kevodo, that God's glory fills the whole world. Or, as our sages say, he is the space within which the universe exists. The universe is not the space within which he exists. Now, that might sound like a little bit of a tongue twister, but basically what we're saying is everything exists within him. He has nothing at all that limits him. So usually that's how we understand the principle, Ein Sof, that God is without end. He continues infinitely in all directions, filling the whole of space. We also understand that that means that God is beyond time. But let's understand this word Sof. Sof means end. Now, the word infinite, even though it's correct, for many people implies just simply something that cannot be measured. So most things in life can be measured, and this can't. And that would fit perfectly with the word Sof, end. The only thing is that if we had to do a little exercise, we'd quickly realize that Sof, end, is not only about space, and it's actually not only about time. So for example, that line, that infinite line that we talk about, it continues infinitely, but only in two directions because it's a line. So the Sof, the parameters, the boundaries, the limits of that line will be on both sides and up and down. It continues forever, forwards and backwards, but it doesn't stretch far at all to either side or up and down. Likewise, let's say I'm sitting right now at a table. The Sof, the end of that table, is first and foremost the edge. So the table is, let's call it 2 meters wide, and 2 meters long and 1 meter wide. So those are the ends. At the end of 2 meters in the one direction and the end of 1 meter in the other direction is no more table. The table is, call it 1 meter high. Well, anything above that is no longer the table. That's the one Sof. But there are others as well. So in other words, not only does the table not exist after 2 meters, but here's something. I'm in this room. The table could still exist in my head even when I'm not in this room, meaning to say I could imagine it. So the concept of table is another Sof. It's another, besides the physical parameters of the table, there is the concept of the table. It starts and ends with table. Anything that is not a table is a different concept. When we say Ein Sof, we don't only mean that God is beyond space and beyond time, we also mean God is beyond having a defined concept that we can relate to him. So I can say a table is a table. I know what that is. I could also say a table is not a chair, and that would make sense. I can't apply that kind of logic to God. So I can't say God is a God because I don't really know what that means. And even if I say God is not a human, doesn't really help. So Ein Sof means not only that God has no physical, spatial, or time limitations, much more importantly, it means God has no concept that can define him, that can create a set of parameters or a definition that we can say, this is him. That's a deeper perception of Ein Sof.